Well, I'm really glad, first of all, that I'm not doing music tonight because that was freaking epic. You guys are awesome. Some really super talented musicians in the house tonight. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how I grew up. I was raised on a farm. I know it doesn't look like that, but I was raised on a local cattle ranch. We had 200 head of cattle. It was a rehabilitation facility for sick bovines, which is another word for cows that only farm people really use. So that's like where I started, and we were really super poor, but we were like a special kind of poor. And you really know the level of how poor you really are by how long, for example, you can make a tube of toothpaste last. If you read the back directions on a tube of toothpaste, it says squeeze from the bottom and roll. Now, any of you guys who have been truly poor know that when most people throw out the toothpaste, there's at least 17 days more toothpaste left in the tube. And the only way that you can actually get to that toothpaste is to use what? The back of a comb or a rolling pin. Exactly, that's right, brothers. It's a special kind of poor. The only way I can relate it to somebody who hasn't lived it, it's like when you know in first grade you're not going to college. Like when you know you're that kind of white where you don't qualify for scholarships. You're too poor to like even be presentable for the scholarship, so you have to do alternate things like stand-up comedy, right? And that's obviously going really well for me. I've performed probably 10 times here now, and I have yet to make a single dollar off of it. I'm working on that though. The interesting thing about being raised on a farm is you get an alternate education at school and then at home. At school they're teaching you real stuff. At home it's all farm-related stuff. So if it doesn't come down to working on a tractor or the field, it's not really applicable in real life. And because of the style of life that I was raised on, I was really strict, really Christian, really conservative. And I remember the first time I had a school dance, it was a big deal because all I had were farm clothes and it was time to look like I wasn't a farm kid. So we went, like any poor farm family did, and we walked over to the neighbors and asked if they had any extra clothes. And so I got this, what I thought was an awesome set of clothes for this dance. Fun fact about my mom, she chaperoned everything I did with any ladies growing up. So my mom went to the dance along with me and my date to the dance, which is not at all weird, not at all awkward, until the first slow dance came on. Now we were a pious, very Christian family. We were taught to take the scripture literally for what it said. So the first slow dance comes on. It was like an awesome 80s love ballad, go in close, assume like the dance position, start to get into it. My mom reaches between the two of us and says, leave enough room for the Holy Spirit. So I'm like, oh my God, God wants to have a threesome with us. Yes! That was not what it meant, and I was not allowed to go to any more dances after that comment. It made dating a little awkward, but I learned something about dating. You can tell a lot about a person who you're dating based on whether or not they're a cat or a dog person. Like a dog person likes to be in control. They like well-trained pets. They like to be able to give commands. They like to reward good behavior, and they like to punish bad behavior. She's shaking her head right now. I'm looking at her. Dude, that's awesome. She's like, yeah, I reward good behavior, and I take things away for bad behavior. Now he's laughing. Sorry, I don't mean dividing couples on stage. So dog people like structure. They like things to be like, you want to go on a trip, we're going to bring the Frisbee, So when you're dating a dog person, you kind of know what to expect. But if you're lucky enough to date a cat person, they don't give a fuck what you do. You only have to give them affection like once a month for 10 minutes at the most, just rub up against their leg, and they're like, oh. Then you can go right to pushing shit off of their counter, and it won't matter. You can pee in her shoes, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because it's a cat person. She's used to it. She's not going to ask me to go on trips with her. No, you don't bring your cat. It's a lot less commitment. So think about that the next time you date. Now, if you get one of these fucking weird people with a bird, just run. I know personally, like, the thing about birds that freaks me out is, like, I never want to get old enough to where bird watching becomes a thing that I want to do for a hobby. So much so do I not want to do bird watching for a hobby that I started studying bird watchers so that as I got older, I could maybe see like the early warning signs of being a bird watcher. So I could recognize it and plan some sort of appropriate non-bird watching self-suicide to take myself out before that point is actually reached. Because I got to thinking about bird watching, and out of all of the animals that you could possibly watch on this whole beautiful planet, birds? I mean, realistically, when you're watching birds, they do one of three things. They land, they fly, or they shit. So, like, making a hobby out of watching, like, I can't imagine, what do you get excited about as a bird watcher? You see, like, a red-crested, a warbler, whatever it might be, a thrush, a camouflage ringed thrush. So you see one of these, and you look through your binoculars, and you see it do one of those three things, right? So then you go back to your friend, you're like, dude, I saw a thrush today, bro. It landed, it shit, and it took off all at the same time. It was a banner bird watching day, best bird watching day I've had in 3 years. And they always want to see the most rare, endangered birds. And that's like the biggest part of bird watching, is to find the rare stuff that you don't see. So as humans, we don't even realize, like, here's an endangered species that's rare, and we want to go with binoculars and just spook it every time it lands. We want to pop out of the brush like that's not fucking up its whole territory and maybe the reason it's rare in the whole entire first place. Which got me thinking, like, if these people are so destructive about their hobby that they don't even care about the very thing they're watching, does bird watching go beyond that hobby? Like, do people take that into the bedroom with them? Talk birdie to me. Yeah, that joke was for Michael. I just saw him shake his head. You're welcome. I got to tell you a story real quick about my mom before I'm done. My mom is an awesome person, and she's at that age where she's not old enough where I have to really take care of her, but she's decided she's old enough where she wants me to take care of her. So she's totally able to go to appointments, doctors, and things like that on her own, but she wants a companion to go along to the doctor's office because it's less scary. So the other day she calls me and says, I want to go to Ian, I got this doctor's appointment. I really want somebody to be there. I'm kind of nervous. Will you go with me? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. We go into the doctor's. We're sitting in the waiting room. She tells me in the waiting room, I don't want you to go in. Like, it's kind of an embarrassing thing, and I want to go in, and I just really needed you here, like, so that I wasn't freaked out, moral support in the waiting room. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'll sit out here. I mean, it's probably going to be awkward if I go in, so yeah. So I'm sitting there, doctor takes her into the room. You know, the nurse always hits them first before the doctor. So the nurse comes in, I see the nurse leave. And then from the waiting room, all of a sudden my phone starts going off. Like, multiple text messages are happening. I get a message from my mom. The first thing the message says is, oh my God, how does anybody pee in these cups? These things are tiny. Which I assume she's texting from the collection restroom as she's trying to fill the cup. The next message says, holy shit, I got some on my jeans. The next message says, how much am I supposed to give them? Like, I'm assuming the nurse gave her directions before, but she's just ignored those completely and decided to go with the advice from her son. The next message says, I have a problem. Can you come in? Oh God. So I go into the room. She is like 3 shades of red, like sweating from like the top of the lip, just nervous as shit. She's got pee on her leg. She's holding her sample cup, which is now wrapped in several napkins. And the doctor comes in and she goes, I got sick of waiting for you, so here's my sample. And she produced from her hand, wrapped in napkins, the little paper cups that they keep next to the water cooler. The doctor says, you know I'm a podiatrist, right? I don't need a urine sample. That's why my mom now needs to be supervised. I've begun going to every doctor's appointment with my mom now just to make sure that she makes it through and like doesn't get kicked out. All right, one last joke for you guys. I started a tour for Californians so that they could check out the local area. I call this the Weed, Wine, and Farm Tour. All right? It's advertised very slickly. It's like, come to beautiful downtown Southern Oregon and experience the lush rawness that is our local climate. We'll take you to local wineries with the best that the Rogue Valley has to offer, as well as the finest dispensaries and local farms. You'll see how marijuana is made, manufactured, and sold, including samples that you can take back with you on the tour. Please note that due to the nature of the tour and the portion of the tour that involves a marijuana garden, we do not allow any weapons on the tour. Please visit our website at www.californiansonlytour.com. So I got a bunch of signups. Tour went awesome. Way better than I could have ever expected. Basically, here's how the tour goes. I meet up with the Californians. I put them in my car. I drive them into the middle of nowhere. We end up on the freeway. I head back to California. Right when we hit the border, I pull a gun on every one of those motherfuckers. I steal their purses and I steal their wallets and I say, this is for fucking up our housing prices. I kick them the fuck out of the car and say, tell your friends. Thank you.
Give it up for Matty J. Alright, we got Destructo Bunny coming up right now. And Nick and Renee on deck. Alright, let's give it up for Destructo. Excited, brother. How's it going, Clubhouse? How you feeling tonight? Amazing people and energy in this area. Very happy to be living up here. My name is Destructible Bunny. This is my daughter Juniper, my wife Kara. This is the Dean's family. Hanging out with y'all. Love it. It's kid friendly too.